who's wrong and who's wronger. In this corner, followed by millions, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Dash Rinko Leavers.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Wrong and Wronger, and it is a delight to be with you. I am Steve Filet Mignon Olivas, and he is James Jelly Bean Breakwell. James, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing amazing because you are about to lose, and that's really all that matters in life. There are winners, and then there is Steve.
Well, that is part of the chock-full show that we have. We got a lot of stuff to get to today, so we don't want to waste a lot of time. But that was one of the things I wanted to bring up, James. You know, I always scroll through and look at people's comments when you post the poll every week.
Yeah.
And everybody was just ripping on Steve for arguing in favor of hard-shell tacos, but what happened in the poll?
I don't know. There was not a single comment on any social media platform in favor of hard-shell tacos. Not a single one. And I lost in a landslide. It was the most lopsided loss I've ever had. It makes no sense. So apparently people who care enough to write a whole comment believe in me, and people who just want to click a button believe in you. So that's what you have right there. The shorter the attention span, the more likely you were to win them over.
Hey, I go with whatever I got. It was one of the craziest backward final results that I'd ever seen.
I had to double check the numbers 3 times. I looked at the comments.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I'm good this week. I don't have to worry about it. And then on top of that, my phone, I had some chaos with my phone. And so I made a penalty video and it was unusable. So I had to reshoot it. So you actually haven't seen the penalty video yet. It will be up by the time this episode airs. And by then you will be fully amazed by it. But this is penalty video number 2. So not only was I betrayed by the commenters and voters, but then I had to redo work. So it was a bad week.
You were
all
betrayed
around.
by technology.
And you know what? I actually have a newsletter now that everybody should sign up for. But I told a big long story on there about how I was losing my phone. And it was like losing a family member that I didn't know what I was going to do without it. And one guy is like, dude, just clean out the audio jack. So I sprayed some air in the audio jack, and 10 seconds later it worked like new. Like, that's all it was. I wrote 500 words about how I was losing my phone, and it took one email for one random person. He's like, I could fix this. So, I guess
I tell you what, that is the power of Twitter, man.
Yeah.
When I have a problem, I just put it out there, and it's like ask your neighbor. Somebody knows the answer.
They do. So that was nice. You saved me hours at my cell phone carrier store. So your reward is that I'm just going to keep talking and giving you nothing. So congrats for that. This penalty video is sponsored by you.
We won't say his name because he'll bring shame upon his family. Well, speaking of technology, I'm actually home in the new reconfigured Journey 2 studio. My other studio space got repurposed by members of my family while I was gone, because things happen when I'm gone. I have no idea. But you, James, what is going on with you over there?
What is going on with me? I moved the camera up a few inches. Somebody gave me a tip that the higher the camera is, the less ugly I'll look. If I could, I would strap that camera to the ceiling, but the wife won't loan me a ladder, so I just went up 2 or 3 inches. It is actually, believe it or not, this whole setup is stacked on copies of my book. So not only will it save your life in the zombie apocalypse, it is great for propping up a sound screen and camera. So take that for what it's worth.
Well, I thought you were going to say you had to strap it to the space shuttle in order to get the right angle to make you look good.
The smaller I am, if I'm ant size, I am beautiful. But it wasn't in the cards.
You turn the lights down, tell Peter Frampton, and everything is great. All right. Well, this is the show, as we kind of prattle on a bit at the beginning, to get warmed up, to get everyone kind of into our rhythm, and we debate topics that everybody has an opinion on, James, but people want to distance themselves from until it comes time for rubber to hit the road, and then they tune into Wrong and Wronger and tell the world how they agree with James, and then they vote for Steve. But what are we going to... And this was this is going to bleed into my compliment to you, by the way. My compliment to you, I'm going to say this is bleeding from the compliment. it. It's going to have bloodshed, whatever direction we go. My compliment to you is you every once in a while have lightning strike, and it's like Frankenstein's monster coming to life, and you get one of these great ideas. And this week was no exception when you started to poll the audience to find out what they wanted us to debate. And that was a great thing. Hats off to you.
Yeah, I don't know how we didn't think of it earlier. We want to debate things that people care about, and we never actually bothered to ask people what they cared about. I have literally a million people who I could ask with a built-in poll what they want us to debate, and it took us 57 episodes before it occurred to me, hey, let's do a poll and see what they want. And the answer was shocking. There was an oddball comment that somebody shot us a few days ago, and they said, what's the order you should put your shoes on in? You, like, when shoes and socks, do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or do you do sock, shoe, sock, shoe? And Steve, it caused fights in his house. It caused fights on Twitter. It won. It got like 46% of the vote. It was like out of 4 choices, it was just the runaway winner. So thanks to you guys, we are going to debate what is the proper order to put on your socks and shoes.
Yeah, so do you put both socks on and then both shoes, or do you put one sock in one shoe and then the other sock in the other shoe? And apparently that's a thing, because I passed it by my wife. I said, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And she said, oh, no. That's a big thing. It's like a Facebook thing, I think. I'm not sure what goes on Facebook. That's for your generation.
I just got to say, the Guam Quarter of Fate is going to give somebody a very rough night tonight. This is not going to be an equal argument.
The Guam Quarter of Fate has made it back to Nashville with me, but I can't flip it until I hear your compliment, because you know that I hang on your every word.
I thought I was going to slip it by you this week. Well, I would like to... Some week you're going to forget. You'll compliment me and I will give you nothing in return, and then it'll be just like all my other relationships. Okay, so my compliment to you is that you are flexible. You are the lowest priority in your household in terms of real estate. Like, this, walls get moved around, rooms get repurposed, and you just roll with it. I think you're just excited every time you come home and they haven't changed the locks. Like, oh boy, I get to sleep in a house tonight. Good for Steve. So congrats to you for being in your 5th studio in your own house. And, you know, because we all know that one of these days you're going to be recording from your backyard. And I look forward to that moment.
James, I just hope it's my backyard, because it's going to be your backyard one of these days. I'm going to show up like Tony Randall on your doorstep with a suitcase and an umbrella.
You are the reason I have a P.O. box, okay? You go hang out at the P.O. box.
You did get the Tony Randall reference, though, right?
I did not. I can't even see your looks of disgust. It's wasted on me. I know what you're doing with your face. It's more ugly and contorted than usual, but the effect is lost on me. Lost.
It's not disgust as much as it is just resignation, and a little bit of indignant, but mostly just resignation.
Someday,
if you've never heard of a show called The Odd Couple and you've never seen it, there's nothing I can do for you at this point.
We are The Odd Couple, but I want you to make a list of references from useless bygone eras everyone's forgotten. And I will just watch everything one horrible weekend. And from then on, I will get every reference and just look down on you for it. We'll flip the tables. That's what we're going to do. So you start working on that master list. And on my Friday night date nights with the wife, when we get drunk on the couch and look for stupid things to fall asleep to, I'm going to go through your chosen list of favorite movies. And it'll knock us out in 10 minutes each night.
James, this is a lifetime of accumulated knowledge from a guy who never dated, so I had nothing to do but sit and watch movies by myself and watch TV through the 70s and 80s.
I bet I could knock it out in 2 weekends. I think your wealth of accumulated knowledge is greatly overestimated.
Wow. All right. Well, after those heartfelt compliments, I think it's time to move on. I do have the Guam Quarter of Fate with me here in Nashville, Tennessee, and you are going to call what each side represents.
Okay. Heads, I'm arguing sock, sock, shoe, shoe. And tails, I'm arguing shoe, sock, shoe, sock.
All right. I will try to make this as on camera as possible to make sure that there is no malfeasance.
I will be shocked if you catch it. Shocked.
I caught it, and it is heads, and I can't remember what heads represents.
I am arguing sock, sock, shoe, shoe. Once again, the Guam Quarter of Fate and life in general has favored the unicorn. Because it just makes sense. You don't always keep your socks and shoes in the same place. I keep my shoes downstairs by the door because they could be wet or they could be muddy when you come in from outside. But you don't keep your socks by the door. You keep them in your bedroom, in a dresser drawer. So you get out of the shower, you get dressed, you put on your one sock, then you put on the other sock, then you walk down towards the edge of the house, you put on shoe. Why would I ever put on one sock, walk to my shoes, put on one shoe, put on one sock, put on one shoe? It makes no sense. You are in trouble, Steve. I'm going to guess you have no arguments in favor of this.
You know what's funny is as I was writing all my arguments down, I actually wrote your arguments down because I lost track of who was which side. So you caught me with my pants down a little bit, which is ironic given the state of affairs on this end of the phone. But the reason that you put on one sock and then one shoe is because you want to maintain perfect symmetry. And once a side is done, you check the box in your head. We don't have to deal with the left-hand side anymore. It's sort of like when you do any kind of order of operations, you want to make sure that one is sealed off before you move on to the next one. And left-right is the way to go because one sock and one shoe means that sock isn't getting dirty on the floor when you're trying to struggle into the other one. I know if you're anything like me, you've fallen over several times trying to put your sock on. I don't even untie my shoes before I take them off anymore. It's not worth the trip. But as that foot is sitting there, you get all kinds of gross stuff all over. And I don't know why you're a proponent of gross things and germs and all of that kind of behavior, but you have children. You want to stay as clean and sterile as possible. And putting that shoe over the sock makes sure that you have a natural barrier between your sock and all of that gross stuff that's going to permeate that semi-porous sock material and get up into your skin. You probably, you get tapeworms, you get ringworms, you get hookworms.
Where do you
get
live? Are you already in the
backyard?
backyard?
You have a pig in your house. What are you talking to me about where I live for?
I don't have ringworm on the floor. I have hardwood floors that are 100 years old. You think there's ringworm living in those?
It killed off several generations that are buried in the cemetery. I've seen your front yard. You have that picket fence like an old-timey cemetery around it, and it's because that's where the bodies are buried of all the people that were destroyed by those little alien earworms, probably, in all of your floorboards, too. And that's the advantage of having a shoe.
Do you think earworms go through your feet now? Is that why they call them earworms?
That's one of the more efficient ways to get. I mean, they take a while to get there, but when you feel it coming, you don't have any time to react. It's going to be on you like Alien.
You might as well be arguing that you should put your shoes on before you put your socks on. It just doesn't make sense. It's like a ship in a bottle, you know? It's the worst way to do something here. Okay? You put on two socks. What if you get interrupted? Okay, I've got 4 kids. Getting dressed in one fell swoop without 9 people walking in the room is not going to happen.
That's one thing I wrote on my list.
Yeah, and it's like you're going to get one sock on and one shoe on, then somebody's going to interrupt you, and you're going to be walking around like you're Quasimodo with a weird limp because one side's going to be an inch higher than the other as you walk through the house doing whatever. You got to put on 2 socks, and then your feet are all at one level for perfect walking, and then you put on 2 shoes. And you're done. That's all you need. And then you can stop halfway through. You can put on 2 socks and just stay in the house and go about your day. But if you put on 1 sock, then 1 shoe, then 1 sock, then 1 shoe, you never have use of the sock stage. You always have your socks hidden. Don't you enjoy going around your house in just your socks? I've never heard of I've heard of families that make you always take off your shoes. I've never heard of a family that forces you to wear shoes in your house. But I guess if you've got ringworm and tapeworm in your floor, maybe that explains something about how you're living. No wonder your wife keeps rearranging everything. She's just trying to kill the parasites.
I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like going backwards in life. Like, you ever get to your car, which is roughly 12 seconds from your kitchen, and you realize you forgot something on the kitchen counter, and how irritating it is to go backwards in life, to have to move back 12 seconds. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. And that's why I don't want to revisit my left foot. You know what I'm saying? The whole Daniel Day-Lewis thing, it was just a horrible experience. I thought the movie was about something different, and I left angry. And the same thing happens when I put, well, I'm just going to keep going. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But the same thing happens with the socks and
just keep digging that hole. It's the only way out.
That I want to make sure when the left foot is done, it is done, and I move to my right foot. If I put the socks on first, I got to go back to the left foot, and that feels like moving backwards in life. And you're the only person I know who enjoys going backwards in life. I always like looking forward.
If you had ever seen True Detective, you would know that life is a flat circle. Thank you, Matthew McConaughey. So it's okay.
Holy cow!
Yeah, look at that. Have you actually seen that? That was made in the last 10 years. I thought for sure you wouldn't get that reference. Yeah, well, I don't even know why this is an argument. You have 2 socks, you have 2 feet, you put them on. Like, where would you even store your shoes? Do you think everybody stores their shoes besides their dresser? That doesn't make any sense. The shoes have to stay downstairs by the door. In the mudroom, we have trays because I live in Indiana where the weather is wild and you have snow and rain and ice and sleet in the same 2-hour period. You've got to keep your shoes down there. And that way you don't track water and stuff through the house, so the house is safe to walk through when you wear only your socks, which you put on at the same time as a set. You put them both on, your feet are warm, your feet are protected, and you have options. You can stay indoors all day with warm feet, or at the drop of a hat, you can go to the door and you can put on your shoes and you're ready to be mobile in the world. You're a double threat at that moment. And your way, it just cuts down your options. You've got one option. You've got barefoot and you've got ready to go outside, and there's no in between. Like, what do you do if you want to take a nap on the couch? Do you wear your shoes or do you go barefoot? Like, there's no room for in between with this approach.
What do you do if you want to step 1 foot outside and grab the newspaper off the porch? You don't want to put a stocking foot out there.
Is this what you're going to do? You're going to put on 1 sock, 1 shoe, walk through your house with 1 shoe, stick 1 foot outside your door. At that point, if it's attached to your house, you can put 0 feet out. Unless you have balance like you, I can just reach my arm out and grab it without doing any of those things. Like, I wonder how you do these things. I picture you using like a winch and pulley system. You're making this way harder than it needs to be. Just stick your arm out. No feet required.
No. If you hear a clomp, slap coming through the house, that's me going to get the USA Today, baby.
It's probably good for home defense, though. Somebody breaks into your house and they hear clomp step in the middle of the night. They're getting out of there. They don't know what kind of monster they're dealing with.
Holy cow, it's Quasimodo. Well, we're going to need to end this early so I can look up real quick some embarrassing dances so I can pick one for next week's penalty video.
You gave it a try. You know what, though? We're going to get 1,000 comments about how I'm so right. I'm going to lose the poll, okay? Numbers mean nothing. Math is dead.
If you vote for James, I'm going to do the penalty video with no pants. What do you think of that?
You cannot take these threats into consideration. We do not negotiate with terrorists. Stay strong, voters. Stay strong. All right, let me grab
just go back to the germs. My wife has different socks that she wears in bed than she does walking around the house because she doesn't want all that floor germage in the bed with us. Yeah. And so that's the only rational thing to do is to put a shoe on over that sock as soon as it hits your foot.
Is that you're just what? I want to see your floor. I want you to post a picture of your floor for the Wrong and Wronger listeners. I want to see what sort of like monstrosity is down there. Is it just like teeming with like worms and snakes and things? Like what? I mean, you're a psychologist. Don't you have like hardwood floors cut from rainforest oak or something?
Yes. You don't. It's microscopic. You don't get a cold because an alligator attacks you. You get it because little viruses get into you.
Are her shoes hypoallergenic? That extra 1 inch of space is going to protect you from the floor? You're the one who argued once upon a time that you should be able to pee in the shower. You had no qualms about those germs at all, stepping on the pee surface with your bare foot. And now you're telling me you can't step on your own floor with socks without a protective layer of rubber in the form of a shoe. You're crazy.
I just want to go back. Take a look at who won that poll, by the way. That's all I got to say. Peeing in the shower isn't a right, it's a responsibility that we have.
I lost so much faith in everybody. If you've never listened to that episode, I believe it is our 2nd highest listened to episode of all time. You should check it out.
It might be the highest.
Is it? I was thinking the toothbrush one was our highest. That one was way up there, too.
That one's not bad, but I'm pretty sure we got a lot on that pee in the shower one. That was big time.
And I lost so much faith in humanity. It was just me, by myself, fighting the good fight. Like, that podcast was me recreating the entire movie of 300. I was the Spartans, and you were just the Persian hordes. You and everyone on Twitter peeing everywhere you want. Oh, man, that was bad. Yeah, go back and listen to that episode if you want to hear a brilliant but futile argument in the face of just people who don't listen. That was me fighting the good fight. Tonight was the opposite.
I call this sock shoe one. This is not 300. I call this 3. That's all that I got against the marauding horde that is Breakwell.
All right, well, I'll put you out of your misery, and I'll go ahead and roll. If you want to vote for me, which is the only possible right answer, vote for 92. I am 92 this week. If you want to vote for Steve for some unknown reason, like you just want to break the system, vote for 22. And if you want to vote for the random
Kevin Fiala scored the game winner in overtime last night for the Preds. Nice.
You just keep going, no matter how much I discourage this. You just keep shouting names. If you only put so much effort into your argument as you do into random reminiscences, you might win once in a while.
There's no effort here. I can't put effort in.
And then for the random one, if you want to throw away your vote for the non-funny option, it's 70. Just that's the null set vote, divide by 0. That's throwing it away. And as always, I'll think of something random and funny for the lapsed option to catch all the non-listeners, and that'll throw off their votes. So your votes count for even more when you vote for me and not Steve. So take this seriously. Voting is a right, not a responsibility. Use it wisely.
Well, and I do want to mention before we go that we are launching at some point. We're waiting for the artwork to come back for our logo, but we are going to launch 10 Minutes to Save Your Marriage. And James, how can listeners and viewers get involved in that one?
They can send us in their marital issues. So the whole idea is a comedy writer, being me, and a psychologist, which is apparently Steve, are going to settle your long simmering marital disputes in 10 minutes or less. It's going to be a podcast. We're going to try to cut it off right at 10 minutes. We're just going to jump right in. No Guam Quarter of Fate, no compliments, thank God. We're just going to read your question, and we are going to jump right into solving it in the most accurate and hilarious and probably horrifying way possible. We might save your marriage. We might ruin your marriage. We don't really know. It's going to launch in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be called 10 Minutes to Save Your Marriage, and it's going to be on all the normal platforms. And as for this one, if you want to listen to Wrong and Wronger, we've been pushing the side platforms in the recent weeks. I know YouTube is kind of our flagship for this. You can see our beautiful faces or my beautiful face and then, Steve. But you can also listen to it a lot of other ways. We, for Wrong and Wronger, we're on iTunes, we're on Podcast Addict, we're on Stitcher, and we're on SoundCloud. We're all over the place, and sometimes those are better. If you want to listen in the car, you want to download 20 episodes in a row, download 57 episodes in a row, which is by far the best way to listen. Not that I'm going to tell you what to do, but download all 57 and listen to them at once. It's a good thing. And by the end of it, you'll buy my book, you'll love me, and you'll hate Steve, and everything will be right with the world. So go ahead and do that.
Well, done and done. One step ahead of you, big fella. And if people do want to write in their marital questions and comments and issues, where can they send those?
You can send those to me on Twitter at Exploding Unicorn without the E, or on Facebook, Exploding Unicorn with the E. Or if you just want to email me directly, it's James Breakwell promotions@gmail.com. James Breakwell promotions@gmail.com. It's anonymous. We might make up a stupid name for you, but we're not going to call you out. We might ruin your marriage if you actually take our advice, but we will not name you on air. And also for the voting today, because you do need to vote for this debate we had, even though we all know you're going to vote against Steve, right? Please. But you can vote from the same places. Vote at Exploding Unicorn without the E, or vote on my Facebook page, Exploding Unicorn with the E, or just search James Breakwell on there. You can vote twice, vote 10 times if you want to set up side accounts. We don't care as long as Steve loses. That's the goal here.
Well, and don't forget, as long as we're putting all these plugs in, you get all the official Wrong and Wronger merchandise on TeePublic, TEE Public /Wrong and Wronger. I don't know. Do a search for Wrong and Wronger and you'll find our page with our logoed official merchandise. So, the end of a show that was chock full of stuff, and every week you can find the same amount of nonsense happening here on Wrong and Wronger. Don't forget 10 Minutes to Save Your Marriage. That's coming up pretty quick. And all relationships. Doesn't even have to be a marriage. We will save it in 10 minutes or less. Until next week, this is Steve Olivas, Dr. Steve, for James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell, saying 2 wrongs can make a right. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody.